After school, I head to the cafe where my job training begins. I don't know what to expect since I've never worked in a cafe before. I'm unsure if I'll be able to handle the job. When I arrive, I'm pleasantly surprised. It's a modern cafe that sells coffee, tea, chocolate cakes, and sandwiches. My boss, though only 25 years old, has been working there for over 2 years and is very experienced. She knows everything perfectly and shows me how to prepare coffee, wash dishes, and deal with customers. Everything is new to me, and I only remember about 20% of what she tells me. But then she lets me do the tasks and corrects me when I make mistakes. She is very friendly, and I learn quickly. After my first day, I'm exhausted from learning so many new things, but happy to have a job. The next day is Friday, and I go back to school. A student asks an interesting question. Sometimes when I speak, I'm not sure if I'm speaking correctly or using the right grammar. Can you help me? What should I do if I want to learn grammar? Our teacher thanks the student for the question and explains that there are 2 groups of students. Some study English to be able to speak it, while others study to pass an exam. For each group, there is a different approach. The teacher first addresses those who need English for speaking. If this is your case, you don't need to study much grammar. When you learned your native language, you did it without studying grammar. You can learn English grammar naturally by using the language. The best way to learn grammar naturally is by reading many books written with good grammar. As you read, you'll learn grammar in the context of complete sentences. The teacher also recommends practicing correct grammar naturally by copying sentences with correct grammar. If you need English for speaking but also want to study grammar, you can visit specific websites that show important grammar rules for different levels of English, helping you understand the most important grammar for speaking. The second group of students are those studying English to pass an exam. If you are one of these students, the teacher recommends studying specifically for the exam. It can be helpful to get past versions of the exam, if available, and practice with them. Although your exam will be slightly different, the structure is usually the same or very similar. The teacher advises only taking the exam when your results on practice materials show you can pass successfully. The student thanks the teacher, relieved by the information. He says he doesn't like studying grammar and learns English because he wants to speak it, not pass any exams. He is happy to know that he doesn't need to focus too much on grammar and can learn by reading. After the lesson, I visit a recommended website. It's a nice site with grammar rules and examples for each level. They have 3 levels, 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000 words. In the afternoon, I go to work again. It's my second day, and I can already do many things on my own, though my boss helps me when needed. I realize my job isn't very difficult, and I also get to practice my English when talking to customers. On Monday, I return to school. Our teacher asks us to share what we did over the weekend. I say that I was at work on Saturday and can now do my job quite well. I'm happy when I can talk to customers. One of the girls in the class asks why my voice sounds different. She says my pronunciation has improved significantly. I smile and thank her, explaining that I practice speaking like a native on Saturday night and all day Sunday. I know it's not perfect yet, but I've noticed a big change in my pronunciation. Our teacher asks if anyone else tried the shadowing technique. 3 students raise their hands, including one from South Korea who also likes the technique. Another student says she tried it but had to stop after 5 minutes because her mouth hurt. She also found it difficult to keep up with the recording. The teacher thanks her for trying the technique, explaining that if your mouth hurts after 5 minutes, it means you're doing it correctly. Your muscles need to be trained for this new way of speaking, similar to how muscles ache after the first time at the gym. The teacher encourages us to practice shadowing in 5-minute increments, allowing breaks as needed. With each session, our pronunciation should improve. Shadowing also helps with other aspects like intonation, rhythm, and connecting words in sentences. If the recording is too fast, you can start by repeating just the first or last word of each sentence. With practice, you'll be able to repeat more. I agree, sharing that it was difficult at first, but by Sunday night it was much easier to repeat what I heard. I asked our teacher about the recommended website, explaining that I'm unsure which level suits me because I don't know how many English words I know. The teacher asks if any other students know their word count, but no one does. We know we are intermediate students, but not how many words we know. Our teacher tells us about a website where language learners can take a test to find out their word count. The test is simple and has only 2 steps. You can take it every month to track your progress. She encourages us to use our smartphones to take the test immediately if we want to know our word count. Curious, I take the test and find out I know 2,100 English words. Most students know between 2,000 and 2,200 words, while Monica and the student from South Korea know 2,500 words. Our teacher tells us that based on our results, we should know the grammar for Level 1 and Level 2 on the recommended website and can start using Level 3, which is for students who know between 2,000 and 3,000 words. On Tuesday, back at school, a student asks our teacher a question about practicing speaking with others. She is afraid of making mistakes and looking foolish. Our teacher acknowledges this concern and shares her experience learning new languages, including Spanish. She explains that making mistakes is a natural part of the learning process and shouldn't be feared. When she learned her native language, she didn't worry about mistakes, and the same should apply now. The main goal when using any language is to express ideas, and with continued use, mistakes will become less frequent. The teacher advises focusing on speaking without worrying about perfection. She compares learning a language to learning a musical instrument. It requires practice, and mistakes are part of the process. As you continue using English, errors will gradually decrease. Reading a lot and speaking regularly will help reduce mistakes. The goal is to communicate ideas, and perfection comes with practice. Even famous people and politicians make mistakes when speaking, but they focus on expressing their ideas. The student thanks the teacher for the advice, feeling reassured. She agrees that it makes sense not to worry about mistakes and focus on communication. On Wednesday, at the start of the lesson, a student shares that he has been reading more and feels it's beneficial. However, he struggles to remember new words, often having to look them up multiple times. The teacher explains that this is normal and that new words go through phases before becoming part of active vocabulary. She outlines the phases: seeing a word for the first time and not knowing it, recognizing the word but not remembering its meaning, having a sense of the word's meaning but not being sure, knowing the word's meaning when seen but not being able to recall it when needed, and finally, being able to use the word in speech. The teacher explains that it's normal not to remember a new word immediately. Typically, you need to look up a word 5 times before remembering it well. Some words, especially verbs, might need to be looked up even more. Each new word goes through phases before it becomes part of your active vocabulary. It's essential to see or hear each word multiple times and let it go through all the phases until you can use it comfortably in conversation. This explanation interests me. I didn't know about these phases, but it makes sense. I've experienced looking up a new word in the dictionary and forgetting it minutes later, feeling stupid. Now I know it's normal and that several encounters with a word are necessary before I can use it well. After school, I go to my football training. Our coach tells us there will be a match on Saturday against a school team from Cambridge. He invites us to play for the school team. I'm excited and look forward to the game. The next day, at school, a student asks about improving listening skills. The teacher emphasizes that good listening skills are crucial for communication. Without understanding spoken language, it's challenging to interact with others. Many materials are available online for English learners. It's essential to find the right listening materials for your level. When listening to audio, you should understand at least 95% of the words. If there are too many new words, read the text first if possible to ensure you know the vocabulary. The goal of listening practice is to get information from spoken English, not necessarily to learn new words, although that can happen. The teacher recommends using simplified English books that come with audio recordings, as they are fantastic for practice. You can choose a book at your level, read it first, and then listen to the recording at home or while traveling. There are also news websites with materials available in different levels of English. Watching films and videos is another excellent way to practice listening, especially when you know more than 2,000 words in English. Watch the movie with subtitles first to understand the context, then watch it without subtitles. Rewatching movies you like multiple times can help you understand more with each viewing. The teacher suggests watching videos on interesting topics, like nature documentaries or reality shows, which are easier to understand than films or documentaries. It's essential to listen to recordings on topics you find enjoyable. Doing so will improve your listening skills while having fun.